Hey guys, my name is David Adams, and this is Reading Seth. We're actually on episode number 12, reading from November of 2002. This is where we actually read some blogs from Seth Godin's blog. I can't believe we're actually on episode number 11. We're into November of 2002 already. It seems like just a little bit ago that I started doing these. But with today, we're going to jump right into it. We've got 4 posts. The first one's going to be My Friend Lionel Died Today, and Seth did that on November 3rd in 2002. Then The Power and Fear of Self-Determination. That's from November 12th. And then I probably have better things to do. This is going to be kind of an interesting one from November 22nd. And it will follow up at the end with When People Become Cogs, which he did on November the 27th of 2002. Now, as usual, there's links to the original blog post as well as any links that were inside of the blog post down below in the description. But right now, we're going to jump into My Friend Lionel Died Today, which was from November the 3rd in 2002. Lionel Poilâne was the world's greatest baker. He was also an extraordinary personality, a visionary entrepreneur, and a kind and thoughtful man. Chez Poilâne. I was supposed to have lunch with him a few weeks ago, and lunch with Lionel was always a treat. Lionel embodied just about everything I've been writing about for the last few years. He was remarkable. His bread was standard fare at just about every 2- and 3-star restaurant in Paris, because it was different. He was roundly criticized at first. He refused to bake baguettes, for example. But the extraordinary qualities of his bread and his sparkling personality won over the critics. We don't have enough gutsy entrepreneurs in the world, and now we've got one less. On my first visit with him, I was the weird American tourist who refused to leave the shop without some raw dough I could turn into a sourdough starter back home. He invited me to breakfast, gave me a tour of the world's largest collection of bread cookbooks, and pumped me for internet advice. I think of him every time I put a piece of bread in my mouth or see a really stylish, cool new business idea. I'll miss Lionel. Hey guys, it's kind of an interesting post here, and I definitely wanted to make sure I read that. I wanted to give Lionel a shout out as well. It was somebody that was meaningful in Seth's life, meaningful enough that he actually took the minute to reference him on his blog with his passing. Now, it is kind of interesting when Seth is talking about how they met, they met over the quality of the bread. And it's kind of an interesting reminder and sort of a thought that that's how Seth met him, and that's what Seth's really remembering him from the quality of what he did. And every time Seth eats bread, I think that was a quote in there, that every time Seth eats bread, he thinks of Lionel. That's a great model for something that we can follow as well, is doing something that's remarkable and memorable. Cool, definite, sorry for the loss, but definitely happy for the memories that Lionel created in people just like Seth. But with that, we're going to jump in and go to The Power of Self-Determination, which was from November the 12th. The Power and Fear of Self-Determination, or Are We Stuck in High School? I had 2 brushes with higher education this week. The first was a speech I gave in New York. There were several Harvard Business School students there, invited because of their interest in marketing and exceptional promise. That's what I've been told. I think that they came because they heard that Maury Rubin would make a great lunch. Anyway, they asked for my advice in finding marketing jobs. When I shared my views, go to a small company, work for the CEO, get a job where you actually get to make mistakes and do something. One woman professed to agree with me, but then explained, but those companies don't interview on campus. Don't miss this, guys. Seth really caught this when the young lady was talking to him about the companies not coming to Harvard to interview, and I think it's kind of an interesting one that we definitely want to remember as well. Sometimes you've actually got to go find what the ones you're supposed to have, as opposed to just expecting it coming to you. Seth's definitely going to jump on this a little bit harder than I will, but definitely it's a good place to think right here and take this break from this one as we go back into the call and how Seth kind of responded to it and his mentality for it as well. But with that, let's jump back to the post. Those companies don't interview on campus. She's just spent $100,000 in cash and another $150,000 in opportunity costs to get an MBA, but the second occurred today at Yale. As I drove through the amazingly beautiful campus, I passed the Center for Asian Studies. It reminded me of my days as an undergrad. at a lesser school niche. Browsing through the catalog, realizing I could learn whatever I wanted. Though not only could I take classes, but I could start a business, organize a protest movement, live in the garret off campus, whatever. It was a tremendous gift, this ability to choose. Yet most of my classmates refused to choose. Instead, they treated college like an extension of high school. They took the most mainstream courses, did the minimum amount they needed to get an A, and tried not to get into trouble with the professor or face the uncertainty of the unknowable. They were the ones who spent 6 hours a day in the library reading their textbooks. The best part of college is that you could become whatever you wanted to become, but most people just do what they think they must. Hey guys, quick quote. I may actually leave this as one of the quotes for the image graphic for this quote, when he talks about that people, instead of doing what they want to do, just do what they must. I think a lot of us, if we're honest with ourselves, we extended that behavior into our work and career life. Like I said, we had plenty of opportunities in college, and just kind of do what we had, do the absolute bare minimum that we had to, or do what we have to do, as opposed to using it as an opportunity to try new things and find something new. Like I said, and I think that is also something that's comparable when we talk about a situation where we do that in our work and careers as well. We seem to follow that pattern again. I know Gary Vee talks a lot about regret is something you don't want to see in people's eyes. I think that's why you possibly see it. And a lot of times in their life, they've done things they were supposed to do or something they were told to do, and to some extent never found what they really liked or was really, really called to do. But with that, definitely let's go in and finish up the post, and we'll be right back. Is this a metaphor? Sure, and it's a worthwhile one. You have more freedom at work than you think. Hey, you're reading this on company time. But most people do nothing with that freedom but try to get an A. Do you work with people who are still in high school? Job seekers only willing to interview the folks who come on campus? Executives who are trying to make their boss happy above all else? It's pretty clear that the thing that's wrong with this system is high school, not the rest of the world. Cut class. Take a seminar on French literature. Interview off campus. Safe is risky. Hey guys, again, I mentioned it in the cut. It's something that I think Seth was talking about in the context of higher education and people that really weren't using their opportunities, or really going out and finding their opportunities, whether they're at Harvard or Yale. The world was their oyster. There's not many college and university experiences that are greater than that, and yet doing the minimum, never really finding what was their calling, just sort of following along and doing what they were supposed to do. Definitely something that, I would be willing to bet that in most cases, both those individuals that Seth talked about, as I'd said earlier, I bet they followed that pattern into their working life as well. They may not be happy. That's a situation of where if we're not, that's definitely an opportunity for something that we need to change. But with that, let's jump on to number 3, which is I probably have better things to do. He said they did that from November 22nd of 2002. It's a kind of a short post, and there's only one real thing I wanted to note on it. I considered leaving it out or leaving it in, but I decided to leave it. But there's one piece of one note that I thought about when I was reading it, and I want to share with you guys when we get to the end. But with that, let's go ahead and jump into that post. I probably have better things to do, but I can't stop watching the Kikkoman movie. Weird even if you know Japanese. Thanks to Jeff Leff, creator of this remarkable Chowhound site. November 27th. This just in from loyal reader Mark Bowie. The lyrics to the Kikkoman Song is translated by some anonymous web server with too much time on his hands. The great hero Kikkoman. Soy sauce makes the difference. Pour it, taste it, be amazed. Restaurants are not much to him. Take his blow, the Kikko Punch. Eat sunny side up with soy sauce. Show me, show you, Kikkoman, Kikkoman. Show me, show you, Kikkoman. The star of soy has sent him here. The cool guy called Kikkoman. Try soy sauce and be healthy. Did you know that it kills germs? Sauce, ketchup, nonsense. Vanish them with Kikko Beam. I said eat eggs with soy sauce, idiot. Show me, show you, Kikkoman, Kikkoman. Show me, show you, Kikkoman. All right. Even something so strange as this has attracted the internet and engagement of at least 3 people. Seth, Mark Bowie, and the unnamed anonymous web server. Interesting, guys. It's kind of a hard read. The translation to Japanese into English was kind of tough, and especially since I was reading something that was supposed to be some type of poem or a song. I don't think the translation really worked well. However, I did read it for the last line. I'm going to read it again. Even something so strange as this has attracted the interest and engagement of at least 3 people: Seth, Mark Bowie, and the unnamed anonymous web surfer. Listen, guys, that's how it's done. It's not the case of you doing something that's viral that gets 100,000 hits. No, in this case, the person who's doing Kikkoman was really interested in it. And they actually attracted the interest of at least 3 other people, being Seth, Mark Bowie, and that anonymous web surfer who translated it. And when we're building content and we're doing things, we're building businesses or whatever, what we're largely attempting to do is attract the interest of someone else. Don't really try to do a million things. Don't try to do 100,000 hits. Don't do a million likes. You know what? Do something that you enjoy and that you can begin building an audience who likes it as well, one person at a time. Well, with that, let's jump into the last one. It's a little bit long. When People Become Cogs. He did it on November 27th of 2002, and we'll jump right into that. So when people could become cogs. The cornerstone of the Industrial Revolution was the simple idea that management could dramatically increase productivity by buying machines that did what they're told, were cheap, and could scale. As we've moved to a service economy, though, machines can't handle much of the work people do. I thought of this the other day as I got yet another outbound telemarketing call, this one from the local Yellow Pages. The caller, when pressed, admitted he called me from India. I spoke to him for a while and then his supervisor. They were both risking their jobs, though, because everything they did was ruled by the script. Follow the script or you lose your job. Follow the script or see your pay docked. Follow the script or you don't get a good commission. What so many people in the USA and Europe don't realize is that their jobs are being scripted relentlessly. And once they're scripted, why exactly should the boss keep paying you? There's someone cheaper in another state, in a prison, in a beautiful country with a low cost of living who can follow your script instead of you. This is the giant unwritten headline of our post-industrial economy. If your job isn't creative, interactive, or local, it's probably going to go away. Hey guys, another tough reminder from Seth. And remember, he's saying this from 2002, and he's talking about the case of things that are basically going away. Things that can be automated, things that can be made into a process or a system, they're going away. And like I said, for the people that are creative, that actually can direct work, I had a similar post on this topic on my blog where I was talking about, so you want to be a coder. For those of you that know, I'm actually was in the software development business. That's sort of where I'm from, doing software development. And in that case, everybody gets attracted into the computer science, CS, management sciences, computer sciences, software development areas, and they get attracted to it because of the money. And the one thing that I was sharing in response to a blog post and some other questions was that the case that it is being commoditized as well. That industry as well, and usually what happens is once the skill or technique or the experience becomes commoditized, that's when it's largely going away, and that's what Seth's bringing to us right here. You're welcome to check out the blog post I wrote. I'll put a link to it in the description down below. But with that, let's jump back in and finish up when people become cogs. Offshore software programmers charge by the line, and the boss doesn't have to meet them or give them benefits. Just because you can code, call, file, process, or type doesn't mean you're secure. The winners are going to be the bosses. Quick, become a boss. And the fast-charging creative types. That and the folks with a jackhammer on your local street corner. This is great news for people willing to work for cheap, especially those with talent in a local economy with a low cost of living. Of course, they're not safe either, because there's always someone willing to take their place once they become too expensive. I think our export of good jobs is a fine thing. It makes the world a smaller, better, and more prosperous place. When you woke up this morning, though, that probably wasn't the first thing on your mind. You were worried about your favorite person, you. So what should you do? Now, before it's too late, realize one basic truth. Safe is risky. Cogs don't take risks, but cogs are the ones that are the next to go. Hey guys, tough finish for today. And like I said, the biggest thing I think is coming to here is don't be a cog. Actually take a risk. Cogs don't take them. Build something. Cogs don't do that. Cogs are largely something that's working in a process that works over and over again and that is somewhat repetitive motion. The biggest thing you need to do is identify places where your experience, your skills, you're not a cog. You're actually delivering value, identifiable value that is unique to something that you can deliver. With that, that's the biggest thing I think Seth is talking from that final post about people becoming cogs. It's the thing that you don't want to be one. Find your skill, find your passion to where you're not one. Because in doing that, you're finding your best place to actually deliver a unique thing that you can be and attract and build an audience for yourself and for what you actually do. Well, listen, guys, that is the wrap up for our post on November of 2002. This is episode number 11 again. Definitely check out the description down below. It's got any of the links and the actual links to the blog posts themselves, as I mentioned earlier. Add a comment below as well. I always like comments and like to interact with the folks that are viewing the channel. Let me know what you think. I always love to hear it, good or bad. I really like to hear it and like to hear your feedback. And if there's specific things that you guys might be interested in hearing about, definitely let me know other topics. We'll be getting here to the end of 2002 very shortly. We've got one more episode coming up, episode 12. That's going to be of December of 2002, and then we'll jump right over into January of 2003. I'm definitely already taking a couple of looks at some of the blog posts that are going to be coming up then. It's going to be exciting as well. But listen, guys, I'm David. This is Reading Seth, and stay tuned because episode 12 is coming up next.